What is up, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time. It is late night edition. I mean, late. Means he yawned like 4 times just before the show started. That is factual. It's past his bedtime. He's an old man, but he is here to join us and guide us through the slate. What's up, Means?
This is like the late night Skinamax edition or something. Like
This is late night. This is not just the quiet storm. This is the dead silent storm. But it's 2-man booth. I always enjoy just kicking it with you. We got 2 games, plenty of time to dig into both games, talk about strategy, and it is not just our usual Crunch Time crew hanging out in the Discord. Hello to everybody there. Also, this one's on the YouTube, and apparently there are hundreds and thousands and perhaps hundreds of thousands of people currently watching because this is a free show on YouTube. So if you are one of those hundreds, millions and millions of fans on the YouTube that are chanting our names, go ahead, hit like and subscribe because it's a free show. You know, it's like, give us a little
millions
something.
And millions of Roth's fans.
Yeah. Screaming my name, Rothy. Go ahead, like and subscribe. It's a little, we scratch your back with a free show. You scratch ours by hitting like and subscribe. And then you realize that our content is awesome and you hang out with us for all of eternity. That's, at least in theory, how it works. Yeah. But first, we have to keep up our side of the bargain, Meansy, and that is the awesome content. And that is where, my friend, I turn the reins over to you.
I can do that. There's not really much to go over as far as news. Everyone who's questionable is playing, which was Ingles, and then Lonzo is questionable, upgraded probable. He is starting, but they did say he's on a minutes limit, so that is a perfect segue into point guard at Fanduel. As you will see, I went ahead and tagged both of these guys. So once we got that news that Lonzo is on some sort of minutes limit, they don't know exactly what, but we took him down to decent amount. I think we had him in the low 30s before this. Took him to 27. Probably going to do something similar to those bursts they used to do with Zion, where they just want to get him out there, get him back to playing. He's only missed 3 games, but that's enough to make this the pretty clear point guard duo for cash games. I talked about in the article I was between 2 of the 3 of Lonzo, Bledsoe, and Hill. So with that news, it makes it pretty easy to go Hill and Bledsoe. I'll go over some tournament thoughts after I go through the cash game build. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we should specify that generally you are a cash game player, and we like to walk through the cash game lineup. We start with Fanduel, then we talk some tournaments, then we'll move over to DK, and then Means you will put on his little tournament hat and dig into that as well, just so that.
And the key part of that is we usually especially on the big slates, we have a third guy in the booth who focuses strictly on tournaments.
But today you get to be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I have a different shirt here and a hat. You want me, but,
if you actually put on a hat, I would be impressed. Okay, let's dive into this Fanduel slate here for cash games.
I'll get the tournament hat ready.
Excellent.
Here's the
I
tournament
like it.
hat. All right. Yeah, so that's it for point guard. I think you play those 2 guys. Pretty clear cut for me. And just in general, what you're doing on Fanduel is, especially if you're going Jokic, like I know at least early in the day, like our projections, there's basically like, I'm just going to go back here. We got time. I can kind of walk through this. So as you can see, if I'm sorting by raw points, it's basically like this team, obviously Jokic and tier of you have Zion, Mitchell, Ingram, Gobert, who if you're playing Jokic is out on Fanduel because you can't play 2. So it's basically like these 4 guys, SGA, Ingram, Mitchell, Zion. If you play Jokic, you can comfortably fit in 3 of those. So it comes down to who you're lopping off.
If you don't play Jokic, you can get.
No, I'm saying if you do play Jokic, you can get 3 of those guys. If you don't, you can play all 4.
I see. Okay. Wow.
So playing him on FanDuel on DK it's a little different.
Right.
So I think you definitely play Jokic. Like early in the day, we had Jokic not in the best build, and you could play all those other guys, and it's fine. But like regardless, I'm still playing Jokic. I don't know what the most recent build looks like, but yeah. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to be talking about here. So like, and it all starts at shooting guard because two of those guys are at shooting guard, and SGA and Mitchell.
Mhm.
So and Mitchell's $400 cheaper. So he's been the one who's been in most of my builds. So I'm just going to put him in there. So if you can get SGA, you get SGA. But if you play him, you can't get one of Ingram or Zion. So he has been the guy that's been, I'll be transparent, he's been the guy that's been left off of my favorite build, SGA. So I like Ingram and Zion. And I have Ingram tagged actually here. So that's what you're doing. So if you're not getting SGA with Mitchell, you're going to have to go cheap here. As you can kind of see as I work through this, we're at like 5.3 per. So you're going to be looking at this range of like Gary Harris, Amadou Diallo. And that's really it, honestly. Like Nikhil's a little bit more expensive. And there's some uncertainty now that Lonzo's back. Like, yes, Lonzo's on a minutes limit, but there's just more uncertainty with his minutes and his role. So I'm picking between these two guys. If you have the 100, sure, get to Harris. My favorite build evens out at Diallo. A zero's out, like you have to play Diallo. So keep that in mind. You're probably picking between those two guys,
okay,
unless you're sacrificing the other guys I talked about, other positions, which brings me to small forward. So you have Ingram. Like, yeah, in a perfect world, you get Barton, but I mean, he's decently overpriced, so it's not like you're missing out by not playing him. So you're probably going cheap here as well at this second spot with Ingram, and you're picking between basically these three guys, in my opinion: Bojan, Hart, and Ingles. And I wrote about this in the article this morning. I feel the same way. Like, I literally want to fill this place out last. Like, whatever you do at the rest of these spots, come back here, and you're almost certainly, if you're going like with the way I'm building, you're almost certainly going to land in this range, and you just pick what fits. So that's what you're doing at small forward. And power forward is a tricky one because if you don't go Zion, you could go like, I do like Roby. He's my favorite one, so I'll put him in there. And you can go with another one of these cheap guys, and then you can get SGA. So that's why it is at least somewhat of a decision. And this might be where you sacrifice. If you do want SGA, you may be to sacrifice with Zion. I still like the Roby Zion build.
Do you have a favorite of the cheap guys if they want SGA instead of Zion, maybe?
That's a good question. Let me just build out real quick and see
After
where that
Roby,
puts me.
of course.
I have
Yeah. But if you want to go too cheap,
so if I build out, let me see. So like I think it might be like a Muscala, which is basically like Muscala and Roby are basically like, as you can see, we have Roby for 26, Muscala for 22. Those guys are basically going to split the center minutes. It's probably going to be him. That leaves you in like so if you want to do that, then you're probably going with Ingles. Yeah. So that's one of the builds. This is why I don't like playing FanDuel, because there's like, you're looking at strictly a 2v2. Or I'm sorry, I don't like playing on 2-game slates because you're looking at just very little overlap. That's a 3v3. Yeah. So, but that's what I'd be doing if you want to do an SGA build. I do like the Zion build. And so then what you're doing at center is obviously Jokic. So I think the cash game build is, I mean, I don't want to say like relatively straightforward. It's like there's only so many guys you can pick from. So it's obviously going to be somewhat straightforward, but I like this with Jokic. I like the Ingram, Mitchell, Zion route.
Okay, excellent stuff. For tournaments here, you don't have to actually put on your hat, but put on your tournament hat. Sure, there you go. You can put it on. I guess the question is Roby the chalk? If so, are we going to fade him? Is there a certain game that we're going to try to stack here, or is there just random guys you're trying to get one-offs? Like, what's your plan here?
I'm sorry. So there is not a certain game I'm trying to stack, but what I would do is, if you're making like a handful of lineups, I would game stack both, because especially in this day and age of NBA, one game blows out,
you're done,
and you're looking at a bunch of snowflakes, and then the other game stays competitive, and you're looking at extended minutes. Then there you go.
Right. And if you are the guy who has a little bit of both, you're screwed. You don't want to land in the middle.
Not necessarily. Not if you get the right guys. So
okay,
not necessarily.
That's true. You get the guys who are the blowout guys in one game, and the guys who are the competitive guys in the other game, and then all right.
So not necessarily, but like I think especially on FanDuel, because like as you can see here, I have a Pelican. I already mentioned Zion. I have Mitchell. I think, and again, the spread's closer. I think it'll be more popular to stack the Pelicans Jazz game. Although that you will automatically make yourself different by doing that with a Gobert, maybe. So like, because like Jokic, like if I'm stacking, I probably would want to do the second game, and like maybe you stack the second game and like don't play Jokic. That's where you get like really different. So, and what I would say about all that, I'm gonna reset this whole build, but like I wrote about it in I think it was in the survey today, but like one of my favorite tournament plays in this whole slate, because I'm certain that notwithstanding what this projected ownership says, the definite popular build on Fanduel is going to be cheap at point guard. I'm just telling you, it's going to be, because these guys are overpriced, man. Mm-hmm. Like we have Murray and Conley as the highest owned point guards. They're really, really, look how far down they are in just RG value. They are way down here. They are awful point per dollar play. So they're not going to be the popular. I'm telling you, the popular roster construction on FanDuel will be double cheap at point guard. So like that makes me, I mean, we nail these projected ownership things far more often than not. It's something that's an inexact science that's like impossible to predict. But like I do think Bledsoe and Hill will be the most popular. I love Murray in tournaments. So like if you think of him as just the kind of player he is, A, and the kind of fantasy asset he is, B, he's so volatile. If he's like not shooting well, his usage will go down. He just like will be less aggressive. If he's hitting his shot, he'll hunt his shot and his usage will skyrocket, and he's a streaky shooter. So like his high games are high games.
Oh, I mean,
like,
Bubble Murray. We saw Bubble Murray. Exactly. We know what that dude can do. You can straight ball when he's hot.
Yeah, and he hasn't really done that this year. So I know he's dealing with the wrist thing, but I will say he got up 27 shots in his last game. That is his most shots all season, I believe.
27 shots?
Yeah. So like maybe he's feeling better. His usage has been up the past 3 games. Look, it went 15, 22, 19, 13. That was his usage in the last 3 games, 29, 27, 29. So like, I don't know. Maybe he's coming around. I don't know if it's a wrist thing. I don't know what it is. And even if it didn't say that, I would still say to play him, because the other reason is one of the most popular plays on the slate is going to be Nikola Jokic. And if Murray's cooking, Jokic is maybe assisting him on a bunch, but he's probably not scoring as much as he should to pay off an 11K price tag. So like,
but they have that 2-man game where it's literally just the two of them scoring every bucket when they want it.
But if like Murray puts up 40,
yeah,
Jokic might put up like 20. You know, a meager triple double of like 20, 10.
That's what I was thinking. He's still going to triple double, but yeah.
So like you do a Murray, like let's say we could just real quickly, we can build a little game stack of that. But like maybe I don't even want to say game stack. So I want to build like a Gobert or an Adams lineup. So like you fade Jokic, and let's do an Adams lineup, because then you can like for sure pay up at both shooting guard spots if you want. You can like maybe you don't take either of those Pelicans guys. Maybe they just get blown out, and that's the blowout game. So you're looking at Murray, you're looking at SGA, you're looking at Mitchell. If they do blow out the Pelicans, maybe Mitchell has a lot to do with it. So like this is what you would be looking at. You could still like play some Roby chalk maybe, because then maybe you play Conley. So I don't know. What I would be doing to be different in tournaments is I would get different at center and I would play Murray. And then just kind of, depending on how different you're getting, that's where you decide whether to eat some chalk at certain places like Roby, or eat some chalk with Ingram, or be different there. But I think you can get a really, really good play at Murray, who's probably on a 2-game slate. You'll be pretty surprised at how low his ownership will be.
Okay, let's go over to DK here. By the way, if you're watching right now on the YouTube and you're like, wow, that means you guy is pretty sharp. And that Kevin Roth guy, he's all right. Go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. And Meansy will dive into some DK. Means this is what the people are waiting for. This is why we do it second, because it's better.
DK, it's a little more nuance of a build, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's more fun. So go ahead, dive into this for cash, and then we'll talk tournaments. And then we're also going to take your questions here. We're going to save at least 5 minutes or so to take some questions. Now I've officially put you on the clock, Means.
All right. I got plenty of time. All right, so I got Hill, Roby, and Jokic tagged for cash game plays. So what you're deciding here is based on just overarching on DK is you can get another spin, and I'll talk about why I like Donovan Mitchell in a second. And be careful. I ran into this problem earlier, and I know this is an easy fix. I've already talked to the tech team. Be careful if you think, where's Mitchell? He's not a good play. For some reason, if you were oh, good, they got it fixed. Or never mind, his projection changed a little bit, so never mind. I was going to say, if you are an RG value of exactly 0, it'll shoot you down to the very bottom of the player list. And so like an RG value of 0 puts him as the 4th best play on this slate, and it was shooting him down to the bottom of the list. But they said they're going to be fixing that anyways. But
okay,
irrelevant because he's not an RG value of 0 anymore.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you can get another spin here. So the first issue is, who is your other spin besides Jokic? I like Mitchell, and I'll talk about why in a second. Then the second option is, and also a reason why I like Mitchell is because another good spin is Gobert. As you can see, we have him as like the 3rd best RG value on the slate. But if you are already locking in Jokic and you look at like our point per dollar, strictly point per dollar, Mike Muscala is also only center eligible, and he's the 2nd best point per dollar play on the slate, which helps you get Jokic. So then you can only play one of Muscala or Gobert.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another decision point is, do I take the value in Muscala or do I play Gobert? And I'm leaning towards going with the Muscala route.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm going to put him in just because that's kind of how I've been building. So this is kind of how I've been starting the 3-core plays with Mitchell and Muscala. And so I'm going to combine point guard and shooting guard, especially because George Hill and Mitchell both have point guard and shooting guard. So it's just an easy bang, bang, put them in both of those first 2 spots and move on. If you're not playing those guys, I like Conley in cash games. I already talked about my love for Murray, but like Conley is a much better floor kind of play, and Murray is a much better ceiling kind of play, even though like the exact math has him basically even like you can just, the eye test tells you the opposite. Like
yes.
Conley just, you're not going to get a huge game out of him with the guys he plays with. He doesn't play a ton of minutes. He usually is right around 30, 31. Murray, we already talked about. So Conley will pop up a lot in the guard spot here. If you're not playing Mitchell or you're not paying up for like a Zion, you can get SGA. There's a 2v2. I think even that our projections are bouncing off of. That's like something in SGA and then something in Zion. So you can land on SGA here too. Monty Morris would be a preferred cheap guy as a guard spot here. I think that's mostly it who I've been looking at. We'll talk about Barton as I go. Let me make sure I'm not overlooking anyone who's just shooting guard. No. Harris has small forward. All right. Yeah, I'm good. So let's go to small forward. So I do like Barton here. This is just you got to find somebody, and you're almost certainly going to find one of these 3 guys, Barton, Baisley, or Utah Bogdanovich as your small forward. Ingram is way, way overpriced on DK especially for cash game purposes. Like you can take shots in tournaments. Obviously it's a 2-game slate, but that's really what I'm looking at for cash games. These 3 guys. Gary Harris, I'd throw in the mix too. I'm largely looking at these 3 guys though, so don't need to spend too much time there. Power forward, you have Roby there. That's an easy one. Really like Zion for the forward slot. And already talked about Baisley and Bogdanovich for at small forward. And then JaMychal Green is a guy who's kind of just a guy who's hovering here as a last piece type of thing, a last piece or 2. Like he's in some 2v2s that you might be considering with cheap guy and stud, and as opposed to the other route. So he's an option strictly because he's relatively cheap and he gets you something else. So I'm not going to go out of my way to get him, but would I play him in cash games night? Yes, I would.
Okay. And
that's really it. I already talked about center. You have Jokic, you have Muscala, and Gobert, and that's all you're considering for cash games. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward for DK too.
Okay. Is there anything different in tournaments on DK, or is it kind of the same thing that you went over on FanDuel? Is there anyone that stands out here? Different price?
Let me look here. I'm looking at the ownership. So like things I would be doing to get different on DK are kind of similar, but like George Hill's 40%. Like I'm trying to think of the scenario tonight where George Hill absolutely crushes you in tournaments with just who he is as a player. He's relatively low usage, relatively like his minutes never ever get extended basically. So like he has to shoot unbelievably well. He has to like rack up more steals than you think, more assists than you think, and like get 35-ish DK points maybe or something to like just absolutely take you out of contention if you don't play him. So like lower ceiling guys like that are relatively chalky, I'd be fading. Roby, he is the second highest projected ownership on the slate. Guess who he's guarding at the start of the game? Jokic. So like, do I like him for cash games? Yes. It's entirely possible he fouls twice in the first 3 minutes and sits the rest of the quarter and doesn't come back into like the 4-minute mark of the second quarter. Absolutely. So like maybe you fade Roby and go higher on Muscala or go higher on Baisley. Those were like two, and not to mention they're 10-point dogs. So like Hill and Roby, two pretty chalky salary plays, pretty clear routes to them having, in failing as chalk. So then you just have to figure out if I can let's real quick. I got a few minutes. Like, let's look what we can do with the non-Jokic build. So like, I think you can be really different by not playing Jokic, but also you can still also get away from like the cheap chalk. So like, let's do a Gobert build.
Sure, like kind of a middle of the road.
Exactly. We'll put in my boy Murray. Yeah. Put in Murray. Let's do. Let's see what should we do. Shooting guard. Let's do.
This is something that was brought up here by Ball, and it was what I was thinking too. A guy like Hill, if there's a blowout, Hill's not playing. But Roby,
sure.
But Roby would probably still get the run at that point, right? Could at least.
You would think, but I'll use. I'll pull up our court IQ real quick because you would think, but 2 games ago, they got blown out by the Lakers and he lost like the last 6 minutes. I'm pretty sure they even brought in someone else behind him. I think they brought in maybe Moses Brown behind him. So as you can see from the game flow here, they're getting worked in the fourth quarter down. I mean, the end was basically a 30-point loss. He's right here. 547 mark, he gets pulled. I'm pretty sure it was Moses Brown. So they bring in just a deep, big reserve, and he doesn't get garbage time then. Would he? And like if Horford was playing, probably, but for whatever reason, garbage time doesn't count for young players if they're like also starting. So that doesn't make any sense. But like they should use that time to get him court time. I agree. But yeah, you would think it would be like that, and it's not. So maybe just take a more of a mid-tier approach. Power forward, play like Baisley. Play guys that would play guys if like Roby fails, maybe Baisley or Muscala benefit. If Jokic isn't performing, maybe it's Barton or Murray. So like it just leads you automatically to a different type of build, but it also leads you on good players. Like these guys are all starters. These guys all have usage. Like you're maybe not leading yourself to like a JaMychal Green or a Monty Morris or something, which are obviously in play. But if this is like how I would be building a lineup to be different in tournaments.
Okay, excellent. Let's take some questions, Means. And if you want to go on a tangent, you can. We still have 6-7 minutes. And we'll pull them from both the YouTube chat, where we've got millions and millions of Crunch Time fans screaming our name, and from our usual Discord channel. We'll start here with this question from AO in the YouTube, saying, in a DK GPP, is it okay to play Theo and Hill together?
I would not play them together.
Okay, excellent. Over to our wonderful little Discord community here. We'll go to Will24 and we'll start there, work our way down. He says, DK Cash, is Doja viable?
He is. Like, I think there's a build that I was on a little earlier where it's like Dozier and Conley or something. And I would rather not do that. It's certainly in play. Like, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I almost decided to play it, but I'm going to do something different. Just a slight 2v2 off of like a Dozier Conley type of thing.
All right. Nugget says double point guard for New Orleans on FanDuel. FanDuel GPP, a little Bledsoe and Ball action.
Yeah, I would not do that, especially because they're going to, where they were grading out as 2 of the better like point per dollar plays at that position. Now you have a minutes limit on Ball. Could you get there at both of them? Yeah, but like I'd rather Yeah, I would rather not do that. No.
Okay. All right. GM says, can you guys talk about Kenrich Williams, please?
Yeah,
I
actually have this.
Well, last year there was a time when he was crushing, but or maybe we were playing him and he was sucking. I don't know. That name stands out for some
It
reason.
was when he was with the Pelicans and they would get shorthanded. He'd come in and play.
Yep. That was it.
So why he's being asked about, I should say, is like he's pretty much like they use him a lot they use him a lot as like Baisley's backup. And Baisley, as you can see, only played 25 minutes or 27 minutes that game. They gave Kenrich a lot of minutes in the second half, especially then they used him in overtime. So like we bumped his minutes a little bit over what he had been seeing most of the season, but we didn't. And then even in the last game, I think, and that might have been when Baisley rolled his ankle too. So then Kenrich's minutes were up a little there too. He's cheap and his game log looks good. And that's probably why he's getting asked about. And I don't think he's going to be popular. Like we have him at 3.1%. So I don't think people are overreacting to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would play him in tournaments. Like maybe he's earned minutes. Sure. Like if he's going to, like, as you can see, he's at 25, 27 DK points the last couple of games. So if he's going to, if it's like that and people aren't overreacting the last 2 games, I would play him in tournaments for sure.
But also maybe he got the minutes 2 games ago because of a rolled ankle in the last game because the guy ahead of him was playing.
I'm not certain exactly why they gave him so much last game.
Sure.
Yeah, but we're not. I mean, we're certainly not by. He's basically been a backup, and that's what his minutes should be treated as. So he's not going to play more than Baisley.
Okay. Hammer says Poku for all the money. He actually said Pokpa, but I imagine he meant Poku. And somebody else in the YouTube chat asked about Poku too.
I mean, he's 3-2, and he would be one who would get some benefit from some garbage time. So I'm not going to tell you not to play him in tournaments. Don't touch him in cash games, though.
Okay, great. Ball says DK Cash, last piece, Millsap, Harris, or Green. Pick one of those 3 gentlemen, Meansy.
I would probably play Green. I want to rely on our projections on that one, though, because that's kind of off the top of my head. So we have Hill there. Yeah, we have Green. I would go Green.
All right. JMVP says, do slates like this make you value the blowout scenario a little bit more, i.e. on FanDuel Cash playing Donovan over SGA, etc.? If there's only, I guess when he says slates like this, he means probably somewhat tight pricing on DK and only 2 games.
Yeah. That is something I often use if I'm coming between like 2 guys I can't figure out, like as a tiebreaker. I will factor that in. Yeah. So, and he's $400 cheaper. So yeah, that's a reason to play Mitchell over SGA.
Okay. Goodman says, DK Cash, you want SGA or Zion? What was your issue with Zion? I felt like you were right.
Oh, I didn't have an issue with Zion. No,
you did.
No,
you talk shit about Zion. Oh, I shouldn't curse around YouTube. Right off the top of the show.
I did not talk trash about Zion.
All right, maybe I made that up. SGA or Zion?
If you have the money on DK, I guess that's a DK question for like the last piece. Play SGA. I'm pretty sure we have him basically 3.5 points higher ish on broad points. So I would play SGA.
Did you see Zion's
catching just the quickest little fake inside, 2 dribbles and just up and just threw it down so hard. That dude is amazing to watch.
Poor guy got that poor guy was in there for just a little bit and got baptized.
Yeah, and he thought he had it. He went up there to challenge it.
He
thought he was in the right spot.
He had it.
Just got.
Isn't it weird how some guys just like rise quicker too? Like not only jump higher, but they go up higher quicker. Like that's like with Zion. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was just a wonderful highlight. That was one of the few where I'm like, hey babe, you got to see this. I had to call the wife over. I was like, I know you don't care, but you got to watch this. Cab says DK Cash SGA. And I skipped one. I'll get back to that. Cab says DK Cash SGA and Bojan or Zion and Bledsoe.
Not the Bledsoe one. He's like 6K. I think that's a bad spin. So I would go not the Bledsoe one.
All right. Stan says Barton or Baisley, DK Cash.
Barton or Baisley. I have Barton in mind, but they're both fine.
Okay. I have no idea what this question is from Pablo in the YouTube chat, but I'm going to take it anyways. Are you ready?
I got it. Yep.
All right. We got 1 minute left. Male Don blowout run. Maladon.
Oh, yeah, Maladon. Yeah,
Maladon. Maladon and some blowout run there.
yeah, he'd probably get some blowout run. Yeah.
All right.
I went to Donovan Mitchell when you said Don, so I was
Yeah.
trying to put together a Donovan Mitchell question.
Is O'Neal worth an ish from GM?
No, he's like bottom 3 in usage rate on the season for the entire league.
Okay. FanDuel GPP, Bojan or Ingles, last piece?
I would go Bojan.
FanDuel GPP, is Ingles worth anything tonight?
He is. He's for like 4K or 4.4. So yeah, he's worth the play.
Cujo, DK GPP, Poku Adams or Muscala Barton?
Muscala Barton.
DK single entry G. That's the lock.
Your voice stops working when it locks. It's crazy.
Yeah,
that's how we have everything down to the detail.
Okay. Hey, before everybody leaves, I know the thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people on the YouTube. We've got a couple things going on. First, if you like and subscribe right now to RotoGrinders, we would appreciate it. Just as human beings, we would appreciate that. So go ahead, do us that favor. Also, we've got a deal going on for RotoGrinders. If you sign up for our premium package, you get a deal. I think you get $10 off your first month, and that counts whether you get the whole package or if you do it individual by sport. And if you do it individual by sport, it's not very expensive anyways. Then you get $10 off, and then you're like, wow, this is literally the greatest deal of all time. Though I do recommend you get all the sports because we've got great experts all over the sports. That's what I've got. And to be fair, people are giving me crap over and giving me stuff over Mail Dawn. He literally typed it Mail Dawn. It wasn't like I saw that. It's not a Rorschach test here. There was a
maybe female. He had a question on female Dawn too. I don't know.
Right. That was space. By the way, everyone in the premium chat pointing out to the YouTube chat that premium is, and I quote, so worth it. That was nuggets there.
There we go.
Xzier says Gobert 16% owned in FanDuel GPP. Jokic 67% owned in a FanDuel GPP.
Curious to see what those point guards are like. And also, I believe we have a show after us, Roth.
Oh, we do? Devin, is this true? There's a show after us? It's the middle of the night.
Skinamax.
Oh, all right. Yeah, by the way, we have a PGA show after lock, so we can't spend too long. I was going to torture Meansy and pretend that we were going to hang out for like 15 minutes. Just to watch.
I was gonna come back at you and be like, I'm ready to hang. I already ate dinner. I'm good.
All right. Well, now that we have a PGA show, we cannot mess with each other. And apparently we are going to get on out of here. But you know what? I had fun. This was the latest show I think we've ever done. Right.
I got my PJs on underneath the shirt under here, so I'm good.
I don't want to know what that means, honestly.
From here down. I mean, I don't usually wear pants on the show anyway.
That's what I was picturing. All right, let's see. It's golf time. Yeah, people in chat are telling me it's golf time. So as it is a two-man booth, means you get to say goodbye to the people.
Oh, okay. Goodbye, people. Everyone who joined us for the free show, I hope you enjoyed it, and come join us at RotoGrinders. You won't regret it.
Yeah, that was well said. I still will say my goodbye as well. Guys, hey, that was a blast. We appreciate you. We love you. We really enjoy hanging out with you. We will catch you tomorrow. And tomorrow we got a crunch time tournament. I might be drinking tomorrow. It's my drinking day. I planned that out ahead of time. Tomorrow's my drinking day. We're going to have a crunch time tournament, and it's a 10-game slate. Is that correct? So tomorrow's going to be awesome. I'm certainly looking forward to it. We appreciate you. We love you. We will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.